And yeah, you can have PTSD from things that don't happen to you. And I'll explain. I have PTSD from growing up in the Southern Baptist Church. I also have PTSD realizing that the church denomination I grew up in has the highest sex abuse cover-up scandals and the second highest cover-ups for CSA, if you count Catholics. Baptists, Methodists, and Catholics. And United Methodist is the biggest mainstream Protestant denomination. It's number 3. You can develop PTSD after realizing that you grew up in the Protestant denomination with the most CSA. You can have nightmares from realizing all the bad things that could have happened to you, but didn't. And I always say, go to therapy. Learn why you feel the way you do. And accept that how you feel is valid. Even if you have no evidence to prove why you feel the way you do, or have a reason to feel the way you do, your feelings are still 100% valid. You can develop PTSD from never being abused, but living in an environment where your body could feel it. It may never have happened to you, but your body knows when it's in an environment that won't protect you, where you are most likely to be harmed. Your nervous system knows. We call it walking on eggshells. You don't know what it is. You might not have the vocabulary to know what it is, but your body knows. Your body never forgets. It can evolve, it can cope, it can heal, but your body never forgets how it felt in unsafe environments. And sure, you can have nightmares, triggers, and PTSD. Mine's complex PTSD. Even in things, even about things that never happened. But the environment you were in, it happened all the time. Just thankfully not at your church. And complex PTSD happens because of living in a chronic, scary, either physically or emotionally, a place that is not calming to your nervous system. Women are notorious for internalizing, walking on eggshells, fear, cortisol levels that are so high. I don't know how women take it. Their bodies internalize it into autoimmune disorders, diseases, and complications. Because women just feel it more. They are on their own. I told you, the most unhappy, miserable, most unsatisfied group of people on this planet are cis, heterosexual, usually married women. Because the gender roles, the patriarchal Judeo-Christianity just makes it miserable to be a straight woman. Because all you are is an instrument to provide a man a legacy and cease to be your own individual. You're a wife or a mother. Anything beyond that doesn't exist. And your body knows. I'm in therapy trying to get over how I feel about things that didn't happen to me, but were so common in these places, my nervous system protected me from the possibility of it happening to me. And my family gaslights me into saying, it didn't happen. Why do you feel this way? my body protected me. Not everyone who's in a toxic, possibly violent place is going to react differently. Not all bodies register trauma as trauma. Not all trauma, it's like grief. People react to trauma, uncomfortable situations, or just downright uncomfortable environments differently. Some people's bodies don't register trauma as trauma. That doesn't make them weird. It just makes them a valid, different type of person. And my sister would say, I went through the same childhood you did, and I don't have these problems, because her body, for some reason, didn't translate the trauma we experienced in the same way. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is when she gaslights me to say it never happened, and because I don't feel that way, you must be making it up. That's when it becomes wrong. I have Googled videos on YouTube where cis heterosexual women, so ingrained into the patriarchy, actually grieve their womanhood. They grieve for everything they want to experience or want in their life that doesn't line up with God's patriarchal plan, and it dies. You don't have to experience actual trauma to be traumatized. If your body knows that you're in a a potentially unsafe environment, you can have PTSD without having experienced trauma. And when my mother says, well, we had to go to church somewhere, and my response is, so you chose the Christian denomination with the highest CSA. That's what a good parent does? I don't think so. Good parents who know that certain environments are deadly, don't take them there. If I had kids, I would never take them to church. No way. Not with all the sex abuse, the sexism. No way. There's no such thing as Christian kids. They're just kids being indoctrinated or forced into Christianity. Children can't make legal, consensual choices. They're children. Their brains haven't developed. I will never teach kids about religion. Well, I won't teach kids about religious doctrine until they're adults. Unless it impacts history, science, or they learn about religion in school due to historical events, we really shouldn't heap our beliefs on our kids. That's indoctrination. But what's really interesting, and this always makes me laugh, Christian indoctrination is okay to Christians. It's just wrong when it's anyone else who does it. And that's why I laugh when Christians say protect the kids. My response is, just like how you protect kids by voting for Trump, who's a rapist. That's how you protect kids. It doesn't wash, and it does not make sense. The amount of mental gymnastics required to be a Christian, let alone enable this kind of behavior, I get a migraine just thinking about it. It is unholy. The kind of crap that Christianity makes people do. Or in this case, they don't do anything about it. And as long as you have patriarchal positions of authority, you believe in the heterosexual nonsense of compulsory heterosexuality, deny that 20% of the people on the planet are gay and are wonderful human beings, you perpetuate these environments where women are never safe, where children are pawns of their parents and are subjected to the worst forms of manipulation. Teaching kids that a God will put you in hell for not believing something, that's child abuse. Terrifying children about Satan and the devil. That's child abuse. No kid should ever be taught about hell. Personally, I think being in church is hell, but that's my opinion. I couldn't wait for the day I could no longer go to church and have some autonomy. And it's called conditioning, indoctrination. But it's okay if Christians do it. But God help you if anybody else does it, because they will villainize you. There's a difference between education and indoctrination. Education is teaching people factual things that have been proven by the most brilliant academics that need to be taught to kids to be fully functional, educated, decent human beings. Indoctrination is when you teach minors what you want them to know. That may or may not be factual. The information has not been formulated by the most brilliant, educated scholars. And you will ignore statistical and mathematical facts to funnel the worldview you want. That's the difference between education and indoctrination. But Christians love indoctrination. They love protecting, supporting, and defending sex abusers. And let's be honest, some of the denominations, their founder is a sex offender. Joseph Smith was a wanted sex offender, human trafficker, and bigamist who married underage kids. And he's the founder of a Christian cult known as the Latter-day Saints, or Mormons, depending how you want to look at it. John Calvin, the founder of Calvinism, the darkest part of Christianity, which is where a lot of the extremist forms of MAGA and fundamentalist Christianity comes from, the Duggars of the world. He set people on fire when he was alive, centuries ago. Even if they were Christian, if they weren't the right kind of Christian. If people actually research the founders of these denominations, it's enough to be a horror movie. These types of Christianity were started by people who could not deal with worshiping in a way that everyone else was. They created their own denomination to support their own delusions. But hey, everyone can be religious. Just keep your kids out of it. Kids don't know what indoctrination is. And they're vulnerable. They're so vulnerable. Putting them in a church, they are much more vulnerable. And when you uphold and support environments that make it easy and successful to hide and to torment kids who survive, or maybe they don't survive, sex abuse, that makes you a monster. And you don't have a right to be called a loving parent if you vote for rapists. In America, there isn't anything more American than apple pie and football. Christianity, sex abuse, and the patriarchy. That's their salt and pepper. There's a reason why I call it the white man's religion, because they're the group of people most likely to touch your kids, the cis and heterosexual white men. And there's a reason why Christianity supported slavery, because it's easy to abuse and enslave people you don't see as equal. Beware any group of white cis heterosexual men who view women and gay people as a disease. If you vote for a rapist, you're not safe to be around kids.